Meanwhile, outside of the actual waterfall of truth, Naruto's meditative form was in the Super Saiyan 2 state, and the effects of the transformation resulted in the ground rumbling violently, the water rising, and the birds in the forest flew of due to the trees, leaning backwards and shaking. Both Bee and Yugito were using their chakra to remain rooted onto the ground, covering their eyes with their arms in order to keep the debris out of their eyes.
Unfortunately, the shockwave Naruto released from his form caused Yugito to lose her focus on her footing and was almost sent flying backwards, but a tentacle shoots out of his back and catches her in its coil. "Don't fret, little knee, Uncle B won't let go of thee," he assured his niece.
If I wasn't afraid of taking a one-way flight off the island right now, I'd be using him as a scratching post, she thought, and she was pulled towards him, but ended up getting hit upside the head by a flying rock. "Hey!" she cried out while Metatabi cringed. "Ooh, that gonna leave a mark." Goku vs. Android 19 theme. Gra. Yai! Naruto rushes at his foe and swings a left and right hook at Naruto, who was forced to evade them both before the Dark Saiyan unleashed a flurry of punches that made him block or evade while moving backward. Before he had a chance to recover, Naruto drove a knee strike into Naruto's stomach, causing him to gasp out in pain and hunch over. Yami Naruto raises his right arm up and delivers an elbow strike to his back, and sends Naruto falling towards the ground. Said Saiyan falls on all fours and slowly get up and leaps right back into the air to avoid getting drop-kicked into a crater caused by what? Naruto, who looks up at Naruto's retreating form before flying out of the rubble and stops in front of his other half before attempting to hit him with another knee strike that Naruto blocks with his own knee. Yami Naruto growls before smirking at his foe while red static emits around them. "What's wrong? I thought you said we were going to skip the warm-up?" he questioned, and Naruto smirks back.
"Sorry, force of habit." Naruto apologized before they backed off and lunged at each other again. Why? Naruto swings a right hook, but Naruto catches it. He attempts to do the same with his and gets caught by his other half as well. They both growl as their arms interlocked and then deliver a series of simultaneous knee strikes. As the attacks continued, Naruto takes this opportunity to deliver a headbutt right into Naruto's face. He cried out and releases the darker warrior from the grapple, holding his throbbing head with Naruto taking this opportunity to attack him with a series of left and right hooks into his torso. Naruto coughs up spit while Naruto grins as he continued with the assault.
Naruto recovers quickly and catches the fists, much to the surprise of Yami Naruto. He gets him in the lower jaw with 2 knee strikes, stunning him, and finishes it off with a high knee strike to the temple and sends him flying and crashing into the edge of a cliff. The embedded Dark Saiyan grits his teeth and opens his eyes to see Naruto float towards him. "Grrr! That's more like it," he growled. He crosses his hands and pulls them back, freeing himself from the edge by releasing a burst of invisible ki, and left a near circular shape in the cliff. They both breathe heavily as they floated close to each other and stop when they're nearly nose to nose and have a stare-off. Their aura slowly hums to life and flares around them with static emitting around their forms. "Hi!" Naruto snarls in a challenging fashion while Naruto smiles back. The darker half frowns but returns the same grin since they were both starting to get serious, and both let out a battle cry. They release their aura in a bright golden flash and continue the match with a series of punches and kick while in the air. They paused in their assault with their fists reared back and swung forward, delivering a bone-crushing blow to their jaws, and their heads snapped back at the same time. Naruto recovers faster than his opposite and unleashes a series of punches upon Naruto's stomach and flares up his aura as he continued on with the attack. He then hits with a right hook across the jaw, knees him hard in the gut, and then delivers a reverse elbow strike into his neck.
Yami grins at the fact that he was gaining the upper hand so far, but his eyes widened when Naruto grabbed his leg and swung him around for several and threw him to the ground. Why? Naruto flips and lands on his feet and looks up only to see Naruto gone. What the? He wondered before his senses went off and turns his head to the left and instantly blocks a right punch with his forearms courtesy of Naruto, who then pushes him back with a flurry of rapid punches. Why? Naruto had some trouble blocking and evading some of the punches that got through his defense as Naruto went on the attack. He pulled back and delivers a mid-kick into Naruto's torso, making his eyes bug out. Naruto smirks at the successful hit and pulls back again, channeling some ki into his fist in order to deliver a powerful blow. Naruto senses the power behind the physical attack, and when Naruto swings his fist forward, he vanishes in a burst of speed. Naruto curses as Naruto appears behind him and smirks. The teenage Saiyan freezes on the spot as his darker half aimed both palms at his chest with a ball of yellow ki and fires. A flash of yellow forms around the area as Naruto is sent flying into a rock texture and a blazing explosion occurs. Naruto stays floating in midair, waiting for the dust clear. When it does, a hole is revealed in the rocky wall and there was no sign of Naruto, but he knew better than to believe he defeated his other half with an attack as weak as that. He watched intently for any sign on his foe and his eyes widened as he saw a ball of ki hums to life, revealing Naruto's form, and he fires a ki blast at his darker half. He retaliates and fires a ki blast at his opponent. The energy blasts descend towards the other, and once they clash, a dome of energy forms at the colliding blasts. Naruto rises out of the hole, pushing ki into the colliding energy techniques, and continued to push forward until he was close to the dome. Yellow static surges through as they push more power into their attacks.
Naruto grits his teeth as he continued to push forward and add more energy, as did Yami Naruto. "Oh no, you don't. I will not allow you to come out victorious," he swore as he pushed more energy into his move. Naruto does the same, resulting in the dome growing and glowing like a miniature sun. The two warriors both let out a battle cry as the dome of energy was now the size of a cage tower, covering the entire area before erupting into an explosion so great that the entire area was coated in a golden light. Song ends. When the flash cleared, the entire area was in ruins. Rubble and chunks of rocks scattered, trees were uprooted, and smoke rose from the debris. Dangling from a cliff was Naruto, and from his appearance his outfit was ripped and torn in several places, and was sporting cuts and bruises, bleeding slightly around his arms, legs, chest, and parts of his face. Groans. Man, I never would have thought that my dark side could be so vicious. I feel like I just fought through an army of bijou, he muttered before he felt himself being pulled up from over the edge, and is now face to face with Yami Naruto, who was also sporting the same amount of damage as his opposite, but the difference was that he was smiling in a calm yet dangerous way, and was holding him up by the wrist.
The Dark Saiyan stood up over the edge with Naruto still in his grasp, smirking. He then spun around and threw Naruto over his shoulder and into a wall of rock. Naruto cries out in pain as he hit the wall hard enough to be embedded and leave an imprint around his form.
Naruto brings his right arm forward, extending his index and middle finger out, and fired 5 rings of energy at Naruto's trapped form. They bind his wrists, ankles, and the last one binds him around the throat and closes up slightly, making Naruto release a choking sound. He vanishes and appears before his trapped brother with a smug expression. "What's the matter? Not winning as easily as you thought you would?" He taunted at Naruto's, who was glaring back at him. "I never said this would be." Naruto tokes out, getting a snort from his other half.
"HMPH, you don't get it, do you? You're not gonna be winning at all," he remarked, and then slaps him twice across the face with a forehand and backhand, resulting in Naruto growling in an angry fashion. Naruto returns the expression, baring his canines. "What, Tem? Are you pissed off at feeling trapped and humiliated by your better half?" You're not my better half. Naruto snapped back only to gasp out in pain as why. Naruto drove his knee into the Saiyan's stomach. Yes, I am. I am the real you. He declared and punches him in the jaw.
You
Hits him with a left hook.
are
Hits him with a right jab.
nothing. Hits him with another left jab. But a fake. He unleashes an onslaught of punches and knee strikes to the face, chest, and torso of Naruto, simultaneously until Naruto coughs up blood and he stops the assault. Look at you. The last of our kin, the legacy of a mighty race of warriors that brought fear to our enemies. Reduced to a soft-hearted, idealistic fool by his master. Naruto spat at the ground in disgust. You have done nothing but play the role of hero to a bunch of insignificant insects who could care less if you lived or died, and it makes me sick to see you act the way you do. He unleashes
A dark expression formed on his face as he stared at the fallen form of his other half. No more. I will not allow you to continue this charade any longer. The time has come for me to take my rightful place as the king of this body. I will not allow myself to hindered by the beliefs of a dead man. Your days are over. Every breath you take is an insult to my honor and pride as a warrior. He brings him hand up and wraps it around Naruto's throat. I will break you, Naruto. I will crush you until you are nothing but a memory, and then I will do what you failed to do. I will bring our people back to glory. I will destroy anyone that gets in my way, and if I'm feeling generous I might even spare some of the people you care about, especially that girl Yugito, May, and maybe even your sister and mother. A perverse smile takes form on his face. I might consider keeping them as slaves and convince them to help me revive the Saiyan race once I've conquered this mudball of a planet.
Naruto's eyes snapped open when he heard this and snarls in a primal fashion. His muscles flex up as he attempts to pull himself out of his prison, much to why Naruto's shock and disbelief. Grah! His aura flares to life, and he breaks out of the prison, forcing Naruto to move back from the power input. Congratulations, my dark half, you've officially pissed me off. His aura grew and released a shockwave so powerful that the it sent dust and wind flying everywhere.
You can threaten me all you like, but when you threaten the lives of those I care about, then all bets are off. He roared. Why? Naruto got a good look into his other half's eyes and realized that they no longer held the same compassion and fearlessness. Now they expressed nothing but primal rage and fury, and now knew that Naruto was out to destroy him, to crush him until he was nothing but dust in the wind. A bead of sweat dropped from his brow as he now understood that he just freed the beast from his cage and he was its current target. Something tells me that I've just pushed my luck. Naruto the Legendary Saiyan.
Chapter 6. Unity. Raikage Tower.
Ayatsuki, son of the late Sandaime Raikage, current Yondaime Raikage of Kumogakure no Sato and fastest man alive after the death of Minato Namikaze, was sitting in his chair, doing a series of arm curl-ups with a massive dumbbell that would appear to be difficult to lift for a normal man, but then he wasn't exactly normal. He was a tall, dark-skinned man with a large muscular build, with his blonde hair in the combed back, a small mustache and beard. His face is very distinguished with pronounced cheekbones and tear troughs under his eyes, and a prominent crease across his forehead. He has pointed canines and his top lip also has a darker hue than the bottom one. Unlike other Kage, seems to wear his Kage Haori and hat on a regular basis without a shirt underneath, further displaying his hulking physique. He has black Fuma shuriken tattoos on both shoulders, and around his wrists and forearms were a pair of gold bangle bracelets which each have protrusions that can jut out when he attacks an opponent. The rest of his outfit consisted of a pair of black pants, shin guards, sandals, and a gold belt around his waist with a boar's face engraved in the center.
He had pretty much spent the day doing a series of light exercises since all of his paperwork was completed, but from the expression on his face, The man was bored as hell, especially since he had his brother take their niece Yugito to Turtle Island to work on communicating and training with her bijou, like B did, and was inwardly wishing for something to happen that needed his direct attention. The door to his office was forced open by a jonin who was panting heavily before his leader. "What is the meaning of this?" I demanded in a low, gruff voice. The Kumo jonin regained his breath and bowed his head to the massive man. "My apologies, Raikich Dano, but there's something you must see atop of the tower," he informed the man. I raised an eyebrow and blinked a few times at his subordinate before sighing.
"Very well," he said, and shunshins up to the rooftop along with the jonin to see what the fuss is about. Raikage Tower rooftop.
I stood on the roof, along with the jonin and his two guards, Darui and C. Darui is a fairly tall, dark-skinned man with a slightly bulbous nose, a lazy look in his eyes, and shaggy white hair which covers his left eye. He wears a high-collared, sleeveless uniform with loose-fitting pants, bandages on his wrists, and the one strap over one shoulder, flak jacket of a Kumogakura shinobi. Darui also has stylized characters for water and lightning, tattooed on his right and left shoulders respectively, denoting his chakra's nature affinities, water release and lightning release, as well as the fact that he has a Keke Genkai, the storm release. Dreed. The tattoo on his left arm also signifies that he has inherited the third Raikage's black lightning. He carries a broad, foldable, cleaver-like sword strapped to his back. C is a young man with short, blonde hair and dark eyes. He wears a sleeveless black shirt with a one strap over one shoulder white flak jacket, forehead protector, black elbow-length arm guards, and the red and white Kumogakura shin guards along with a pair of sandals. I was just about to ask them what the problem was until he saw something that made his eyes widen. Far away from their location was a pillar of golden light with what looked like lightning coursing around it. Hovering over the top of it was a large black cloud the size of an continent with lightning cackling underneath it, and the group can hear thunder booming from it.
"What in the name of Kami is that?" I asked no one particular. "We don't know, sir. This occurred not too long ago. The energy level that Pillar of Light is emitting is off the charts." C answered. "I'm talking Bijou level reading if not higher."
A's eyes widened when he heard that. Higher than a bijou. The only beings with a higher level of power would be the gods themselves. His eyes widened even more when he realized that his brother and niece were on the island, and possibly in the middle of the energy output. Oh, Kami B and Yugito-chan are possibly in the middle of that. "What do you want to do, boss?" Darui asked his leader. "Gather several ambu and meet me at the docks. Whatever is on that island cannot be good if it can emit a level of power from this far. Yet for some reason it feels familiar, like it has occurred before but at a higher level." He pondered before order his men back to their stations and have his two guards gather up the ambu. With Naruto.
Naruto rushes at his darker half with his left arm reared back, ready to deliver a bone-crushing punch to his skull, but gets struck in the face with a right hook and sent flying backwards with the Dark Saiyan in hot pursuit. He had his right foot reared back and prepared to drive it into Naruto's chest, only for his brother to recover, flare his ki and counters with a right hook and strikes him across the jaw.
"Why?" Naruto cries out as his body jerked back from the vicious punch, resulting in spit and blood flying out of his mouth. As he recovered, they each traded blows that were so intense that it sounded like thunder was booming across the area. And then the duo went on an onslaught that shook the land. Dust rose all around the battlefield, and the ground underneath their airborne forms rumbled while flashes of electricity coursed around their blazing auras. Several rock textures explode from the forest behind the knee strike. Naruto attempted to strike the side of Naruto's skull, but he shrugs it off and swings a diagonal punch that Naruto dodges, releasing a force so great that it creates a 30-foot wide trench, reducing everything in its path into nothing. Yummy! Naruto looks around for his opponent in the dust-filled area, but his senses alerted his to danger, and dodges to the left, as an energy blast passes by his face, only to get a lariat into the chest. By Naruto, who only goes flying back for a few seconds, due to Naruto grabbing him around the ankles, and spins him around several times, before releasing him.
Naruto vanishes in a burst of speed as Naruto went sailing across the landscape via the air and then appears with his right leg reared back as his darker half descended towards him. Naruto swung his leg out only for Naruto to phase out, surprising the young Saiyan. Suddenly pain erupted from his back as Naruto drove his elbow into Naruto's spine and the young Saiyan cries out in agony.
His screams were cut off when Yami Naruto interlocked his arms around the stunned warrior. They both vanished and appeared in the air where the dark Saiyan directed their forms to the ground, flared his aura, and they descended to the ground at top speed. "What's the matter, clown?" he taunted as they headed to the hardened ground. The impact resulted in an earth-shattering crash that shook the entire area and causing dust to rise up around the area. Naruto grits his teeth as he staggered back onto his feet. But why? Naruto delivers a flying headbutt directly into his forehead and sent Naruto sliding across the ground. Yami. Naruto brings his hands together and fires a ki blast at his lighter half, who flips back on his feet and leaps to the side as the blast hit the area he was formerly at. Naruto swings his arm in the direction and fires another ki blast at his foe. He grins viciously as he saw the blast hit Naruto and caused a miniature explosion, and then leaps forward with his right arm outstretched backwards in a stabbing position. "Die!" he cried out as he was about to run his hand through his weaker half, but then his senses kicked in, and he skidded to a halt into the air due to the dust clearing and not seeing Naruto in the crater. "I've got to say you've got a few tricks up your sleeve, brother." Naruto growled and turned his head to see Naruto standing on a slab of rock with his arms folded and his aura flaring to life, smirking as he stared down at his other half. But then, so do I. Waterfalls of truth. Lightning rained from the blackened sky. The winds blew hard enough to rip trees from their roots, and the ground rumbled violently due to the energy output Naruto's meditative state was releasing. Said Saiyan was floating midair in a dome of golden energy with lightning-like energy arching around him.
This is insane, Yugito screamed as she clung onto her uncle's back with her clawed hands.
"Hey, easy with the claws, kitty," B shouted as his clung onto a large boulder that was embedded into the ground, though he was unaware that the force of the wind was loosening the large rock from its position until it started to wobble. He looked at the ground and his brows rose in dread, and a bead of sweat fell from his face. "Oh shit," he muttered. "Yugito nei mai."
"Yeah," she asked her uncle. "Hang on tight to me," he cried out as the boulder flew free from its spot with Yugito and B on it, flying across the forest from the gust of wind. Yugito screamed as they descended into the forest.
Naruto's mindscape.
Yami Naruto bellowed as he swung his head forward and clashed with Naruto's. Both opposite halves were engaged in a grappling match with their auras flaring wildly as they both reared their heads back and slammed them together, releasing a sonic boom that echoed around the battlefield. They performed this attack pattern several more times before stopping, snarling at each other as they tried to break the grapple hold. Bioelectricity buzzed around their forms as their aura flared even more. Naruto and Yami Naruto break their hold and leap back, dispersing their energy, and the Dark Saiyan reacts first by swinging a high kick which Naruto blocks with his forearm and counters with a left hook. Naruto dodges to the left, placing both hands on the ground and kicks both feet towards Naruto's chin. He evades it and takes this opportunity to drive his right knee into his darker half's torso and sends him sailing midair until he manages to adjust his body and flips his legs over, landing on solid ground. As he tries to regain his breath, Naruto dashes towards his form. Why? Naruto vanishes and appears under the Saiyan's running form and knocks him off balance with a sweep kick. Naruto curses as he falls towards the ground but catches himself and flips forward while Naruto rushes at him and attempts to strike him across the jaw with another right hook. The attack fails as Naruto catches the move and counters with a palm strike to the face, making stumble back as his quarry goes around him, grabs him around the waist, lifting them up into the air and slams him into the rocky ground with a German suplex. Why? Naruto cries out from the impact and then Naruto brings him back up for another, but the other half break out of the hold with an elbow strike to face, stunning the young Super Saiyan while he flips over and strikes him across the head with a reverse roundhouse kick. He grins at the successful hit and tries with a secondary one but Naruto catches it in both hands, surprising his darker half. He pushes back and knocks his other foot off balance, grabs him around the face and slams him into the ground only to get kicked in the chest and skids back clutching his chest while his other half flips back on his feet.
The two warriors each pant heavily as they stare each other down. Neither looked ready to give up as too much was at stake. For Naruto, it was the safety of those he cared about, and the world, and for Yami Naruto, it was to purge himself of his compassionate side and emotions, gaining freedom, and restoring the reputation of his race.
The darker half's panting slowly turned into a tired laugh. Feels good, doesn't it? He questioned his lighter half. Unleashing all that rage in the midst of a battle, the feel of adrenaline pumping through your veins. The thrill of facing stronger opponents. Does it not excite you? Naruto remained silent as he saw the smirk on his darker half's face. You can deny it all you want, but you are a Saiyan. A warrior bred for battle. Fighting is in your blood just as it is our ancestors.
That may be so, but my sensei fought to protect others and not for his own gain. I won't deny it. I love to fight powerful opponents, but I don't let my thrill for battle dissuade my reasons for getting stronger. Our race's drive for battle and mayhem nearly caused them to go extinct, and I don't intend to take the route. Naruto declared. Why Naruto, on the other hand, scowls, and that's what makes you weak. DBZ theme. Gohan vs. Dabura, 4th theme.
No, it's what makes me stronger. Naruto yelled back before Naruto roars in fury and his aura flares to life. Naruto does the same thing and gets ready for another fight. The duo vanish in a burst of speed until a series of sonic booms echo through the area. The two opposites each unleash a series of punches and kicks that looked like a series of blur that either met their mark, were blocked, or evaded. The onslaught continued until they both crashed into a mountainside, causing chunks of rocks and dust to rise up and the duo take off, moving like blurs across the battlefield. Sonic booms echoed throughout the landscape and random environmental textures were demolished. Two golden blurs dashed towards each other and clashed, releasing a burst of golden-laced wind and electricity that shook the land. Naruto and Naruto's fists collided from the impact and they continued with the assault. Naruto managed to deliver a kick into his opponent's torso, but Naruto stood tall from the vicious move and countered with a skull-splitting headbutt before vanishing again and zipping across the battlefield simultaneously.
They appeared once again, unleashing a series of punches and kicks, but Naruto was doing more defending as Yami didn't let down in his attack. The darker half grins in triumph as he broke through Naruto's defense and assaulted his face with countless punches as well as his chest and torso in order not to give Naruto a chance to counter or gain distance. You see? You emotions can't beat me. A weakling can't beat me. You can't. He laughs gleefully as his victory was at hand. He stopped the barrage of punches, brings his leg back, and swings it sideways to Naruto's torso. The Saiyan, on the other hand, dodges the swing, catches the appendage and twists it with enough force to nearly rip the hole off from the knee. Naruto cries out in agony as his lighter side twisted his leg harder, and reacts by using his other leg, and strikes him with a boot to the face, and then delivers a right hook to the jaw, sending Naruto flying backwards and crashing through several rock textures. While Naruto takes off after him, intent on wiping him out, but from the dust, an energy blast shoots towards him. He moves to the left as the blast bypasses his face, only for Naruto to appear over him with his elbow raised, and brings it down in his darker half-spinal column. Why Naruto cries out as he descends towards the ground and crashes, creating a 20-foot wide crater with him face first into it. Naruto appeared hovering over his opponent's down form and watches him slowly get up and snarl.
"Gah, you're so annoying, why won't you just give up and accept I'm better than you?" he questioned. Naruto tilted his head to spit out some saliva mixed with blood and stares down at his foe. Why? Naruto's ki flares to life and takes off like a rocket towards the blonde. Once he got close enough, he swung his fist at Naruto's face and the lighter half caught it in his palm. Why? Naruto's eyes widened in surprise as his hand was caught with little effort. "What's this? He caught my punch. But how? We should be evenly matched considering we both exerted a lot of power." He growls and attempts to strike him in the face with his left fist, but Naruto caught that one too. Again, why? Naruto was shocked beyond belief and attempted to pull his hands from his other half's grip but couldn't. "Grr, let go, fool." "Why?" Naruto demanded as he tried to free himself. Naruto kept a calm expression on his face as he increased his grip and their auras flared to life. The struggle continued until why? Naruto broke one hand free and attempts to deliver a haymaker, but Naruto blurs away. He vanished. Why? Naruto looked around in every direction for his opponent. A whistle was heard and he turned to the source to see Naruto standing on a platform with his arms folded. "Looking for me?" Naruto called out with a hint of amusement in his eyes. Why? Naruto's brow twitched and he fires a ki blast in Naruto's direction and smirks when it explodes. When the dust cleared, it revealed Naruto standing there, not the least bit affected by the attack.
End theme.
Naruto yawns and tilts his head to the side, cracking his neck a little, much to Yami's annoyance. "Is that all you've got?" Once again, why? Naruto snarled in anger and charges towards Naruto with the intent to destroy him. He threw a right hook at Naruto and growled when he tilted his head to the side and attempted to swing a kick at his side, but his other half stopped it by using his knee to block it. He then started to unleash a series of punches and kicks. Naruto easily evades or weaves around, smirking as the mixed attacks missed him and pissing his darker half off.
Hold still, damn it! Naruto yells as he increases the speed of his assault, and Naruto simply avoided all of them before using a series of blocks with his arms as they move downward. Why Naruto backs off and fires another ki blast, which Naruto bats away with a knife backhand, and then descends to the ground as his darker half goes after him. The Dark Saiyan swings his fist forward, but his foe vanishes, causing him to yell out in frustration.
"Stop running away and fight me, coward." Why? Naruto bellowed as he looked for his opponent but feels something tap him on the shoulder, so he turns around only to be met with a fist to the face and sent sailing across the land and crashing into the wall of a cliff. He cries out in pain before pulling himself out. Sneaky little bastard. His ki flares up and he starts to unleash a barrage of energy blast around the area, destroying several rock textures and scorching the land. The entire area lit up like the 4th of July as he continued with his onslaught, hoping to catch Naruto in the blasts. After a few minutes, the attack receded and the sky cleared up, leaving Naruto to pant heavily as he wasted too much energy in the attack. "Wow, nice light show," a voice said behind him. Naruto was behind his darker half, hovering in the sky with his arms folded. Why? Naruto turned around, shocked beyond imagination.
How did you avoid that?" The Dark Saiyan questioned with anger laced in his voice.
"Well, for one thing, your aim of way off. Why?" Naruto growled at the jab, and two, during the fight I realized something.
And what would that be?
The whole time I've been fighting you in my mindscape we were fighting on even grounds, but then something came to me, a grin that unnerved why. Naruto formed on his face, and before the other half knew it, Naruto's injuries healed up and his clothes returned back to normal. This is my mindscape and my power varies on my imagination. You're just manifestation of my negative energy, my dark side, and the Saiyan part of me.
Get to the point! Why? Naruto yells out.
Sure, but first, an outline of red aura takes form around his body before flaring up into a crimson red energy that turned his skin red and darkened his clothes, Super Kaioken. The blazing aura's flare increased and red lighting arched around it just like his Super Saiyan 2 form. Veins pulsed around his biceps, fists, neck and around his temple as the power output grew stronger.
Why? Naruto trembled in disbelief as he felt his other half's power increase to unbelievable proportions. This can't be.
It can, because in my mind my abilities have no limits, and now it's time for me to end this. He vanished in a burst of crimson and why. Naruto cried out in pain as Naruto struck him in the ribs with an elbow strike and sent him flying over the landscape. As he sailed downwards, Naruto appears underneath him with his arm curled up to his chest and his fist clenched and performs a ki-enhanced uppercut into his foe's spin. Why? Naruto goes flying upwards into the sky with Naruto following behind. The Dark Saiyan spin around and throws a punch, only to hit an after image and look up to see Naruto soaring upwards across the sky. He throws a ki blast in hopes of hitting him, but Naruto vanishes and appears once again, knocking him backwards with a flying kick across the face.
Yami goes flying backwards once again, and this time crashes into a small mountain, leaving a human-sized hole into it. Naruto deactivates the technique and looks into the area his other half landed. The ground started to rumble, and the mountain starts to crack until it exploded into a flash of light, revealing the beaten form of Y. Naruto roaring in absolute fury while remains of the mountain fell around him.
He snarls in rage, glaring at his foe with every ounce of hatred in his body. Blood leaked down from his forehead and around the opposite sides of his nose. I'll kill you, I swear if it's the last thing I do, I will kill you. Naruto charges up the Super Kaioken again and dashes towards Yami, who swung a right hook at him, but Naruto blurs past his and delivers a reversal roundhouse kick to his back. He flies forward, but Yami stops in his tracks and dashes towards him, channeling violet-colored ki around his fist and swings it at Naruto's skull, but he ducks and delivers a left uppercut right into Yami's torso. The blow echoes around the area as Yami stood there trembling in pain as the fist buried into his gut.
He then clutched his stomach in pain, hunched forward and walking backwards before vomiting out blood and falling to his knees. A blue light hits his vision, and he slowly looks up to see Naruto in the Kamehameha stance. No, not like this. Me. His Super Saiyan 2 aura flares to life as he channels more power into the attack and then thrusts his cupped hands forward. Yami Naruto sported horrified expression as the light blue beam engulfed him and was sent sailing across the mountains, demolishing anything in its path before a blue dome of energy formed outwards and exploded, rocking the entire area and releasing a powerful shockwave. It died down, revealing an extremely wide and deep trench that traveled to where a mountain once was. He senses his other half's life force weakening and heads over there. When he gets there he finds Yami in it. He was sprawled out under some rubble, beaten, bloody, and down for the count, in his basic form. Naruto descended down towards him and plants his feet firmly on the ground. Yami opened his good eye and stares at his lighter, and supposedly weaker half in contempt, but still smiled weakly. "Looks like you win," he mumbled before coughing out weakly as Naruto continued to stare down at him. "Don't look me like that, just finish me off. I accept my fate." He closed his eyes waiting for the inevitable. "No." Yami's eye snapped open as he heard this. "By destroying you I deny who I am, and that would be an insult to my master and the other Saiyans." "Why?" was all the darker half could say. You fight for self-preservation. I fight for the sake of others. My reasons were stronger than yours, and that is why you lost.
Yami continued to stare at him, wondering what Naruto was thinking. Why do you go so far for others knowing they won't do the same for you? Why are you willing to give others a second chance, knowing when the opportunity arises they'll get back at you, and if not, then those you love? You can't save everyone from themselves. They choose to be who they want to be and will crush anyone who get in their way. This world is nothing but chaos caused by power-hungry fools. You should know that better than anyone after what happened years ago. What makes you think you can change them? Naruto pondered on his darker half's words for a bit before speaking up. I can't. They must be willing to do so on their own, and if not...
If not what? Then I'll put an end to them right then, and there without hesitation. Naruto finishes with determination. Yami looks into his eyes to see any doubt and simply smirks.